Hello, family. Trust you've been great. So, talking about nutrition in menopause, besides all the physiological changes that takes place during menopause, one other major contributor to why women struggle with weight issues during menopause is as a result of activities slowing down, meaning that at that point they tend to move less. It is typical to find people retiring, not just women, men too, retiring from more active duties when they start getting to middle age. And less movement means less energy expenditure and less calorie need. The mistake a lot of people make is that at that age, even though they are moving less, even though they expend less energy, even though they require less calories, they continue to consume the same amount of calories they used to consume when they were more active. Carbohydrates, which includes fruits, of course, are the major energy giving foods. Now, when you eat energy giving foods, the body takes what it needs to function for the day to store in your liver and muscles, and the excess are stored away in your fat cells for when you may need them in the future. So, when you are moving less in menopause, you want to be mindful of the portion of carbohydrates you are consuming. You want to ensure that even though you don't have to, you definitely don't need to eliminate carbohydrates and fruits from your diet, but then you want to consume the portion you know that your current level of activity can burn daily. Remember that in the part one of this podcast, I did say that in menopause, your insulin sensitivity is not as sharp as it used to be, meaning that your body tends to store more fat at that point than it burns. So it's important that in menopause, you don't go overboard with carbohydrates and fruits. What you want to do at that point is tilt more towards tissue building foods, protein, and of course, lots of vegetables. As I say, proteins are the building blocks of the body. The body is ever in need of protein. There is always some sort of tissue repair going on. Your hair, your nails, your skin, every part of your body, your entire body structure requires protein. It's actually really hard to go overboard with protein because a lot of people are not even getting in the amount of protein that the body requires daily. So in menopause, your diet should be focused on more of protein and lots of vegetables and very moderate portions of carbohydrates. And your focus for carbohydrates should be strictly complex carbohydrates. That is carbohydrates in their whole state, untampered with. Things like sweet potato, things like yam, brown rice with all the fiber intact. This is not the time you want to do bread, biscuits, soft drinks, and things like that. Because your insulin sensitivity is not as sharp as it used to be, any simple carbs or processed food you take will spike your blood sugar like crazy. And with your body not responding to insulin as well as before, your pancreas will keep dumping all that insulin into your blood to try to clean up the excess glucose from your blood, causing your body to hold on to fat and store more fat. Remember what I said in the podcast on insulin resistance. When insulin levels are high, it puts a brake on burning stored fat and encourages your body to hold on to fat so that it can use up the glucose from your bloodstream. Another nutritional mistake you don't want to make during menopause is late night eating. Remember that I said that during menopause and even perimenopause, your insulin sensitivity is not as sharp as it used to be. Typically, even for everyone, not just for women in menopause or perimenopause, typically for everyone, insulin sensitivity is at its peak in the morning and then it starts to decline gradually throughout the day and at its lowest in the evening. Because the evening is the time when you're actually supposed to be retiring for the day, preparing for sleep. Even though when you're eating in calorie deficit, right, you are sure to lose weight. But then understand that the body metabolizes food, different food groups in different ways, right? So even though late night eating does not automatically translate to you adding weight, if you're eating in calorie deficit day in, day out, you will lose weight, right? But then eating late will definitely cause other problems that at the end of the day reflect on how well your body is able to effectively burn fat. And one of them is insulin sensitivity. So let's say that you're going overboard with carbs or you're going overboard with your calorie requirements for the day. But then you are eating that excess carb or that excess calories at the time of the day when you are still active, when you are still expending a lot of energy. There's still the possibility of you burning off the excess before evening when you turn in for the day, as opposed to eating an energy giving food or a high calorie food at a time when insulin sensitivity is low and then going straight to bed. That is automatically going to store as excess fat. And if you continue in that direction of late night eating, excess, especially when you're overdoing calories and then you're eating high carb meals late at night, before you know it, your insulin sensitivity will get even worse. So I know that we can't always control the odds. There are some times where you just get home unavoidably late and you feel really hungry. You know, you're actually hungry and you just have to eat something. What I typically recommend at that point is protein and some sort of vegetables. Remember that I said that the body is ever in need of all the amino acids from protein and, of course, the vitamins from vegetables, provided that you don't overdo oils when preparing them. So, protein and vegetables are safe meals you can eat for when you just have to eat late, when you know that you cannot avoid eating late. Protein and vegetables are safe meals because they go straight into a tissue repair. Let me say this at this point. If you are in perimenopause, menopause, you are not disadvantaged. The body goes through different phases. What you have to do is understand the need of your body at each phase. That's the best way to deal with all of the complexities that come with navigating through the different phases the body goes through. So what your body need at this point is lots of love, lots of care, self-care, stress management, adequate sleep, adequate hydration, lots of lean protein, lots of vegetables, just the right amount of carbohydrates, very moderate carbohydrates, especially complex carbohydrates to suit your current energy requirement. Even though menopause is not a walk in the park, when you make the right nutrition and lifestyle adjustments, you will find that you are better able to navigate the tides. I highly recommend that you go over the part one again so that you can catch the full picture. Talk to you soon.